I'm telling you right now, get yourself a piece of paper, open up your Evernote, your Notes app, whatever device or mechanism upon which you use to capture your thoughts, and be prepared to take note. Some good information here. Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the Urban and Educating Podcast, where it's all about learning the best strategies for classroom management, student engagement, and living your best life as a game-changing educator. Here's your host, Dr. Sean Woodley.
Greetings and salutations. I am your host, Dr. Sean Woodley, and welcome to episode 3 of the Urban and Educating Podcast, the weekly podcast that brings you the best classroom management, student engagement, and educator lifestyle strategies to truly help you flourish in the classroom. If you've ever stepped foot in any sort of classroom, you know that building relationships with students is extremely important, but it can be very, very difficult. A lot hinders on the relationship that you have with your students from their performance inside and outside of the classroom. And you know that those students with which you build those great relationships, it really makes your job a lot easier. I have a dynamic educator here, award-winning educator, Miss Lauren Watler. She walks us through a program called The Power of 3 to 8. Literally from the bottom up, every single step that you need in order to implement this program and truly build dynamic relationships with your students that translates to high-flying academic success in the classroom. Lauren is truly an educator that has made an impact, recently being awarded the Pillar of Vision Award. She's a lifelong educator that is truly a servant of the people and her students. What she's done has made a difference in a lot of places for a lot of children, and she is out here making some strong moves, as she'll tell you. This is how Lauren's story began. Master educator, Miss Lauren Watler. Lauren, how you doing today?
I'm great. No complaints at all.
Wonderful, wonderful. And for those of you that are not familiar with Lauren, she goes by in these streets by BK. Is that correct, Lauren?
Yes. Yes.
Tell them why you go by BK.
Well, I'm from Brooklyn, New York, born and raised. Went to college at Hampton University.
I'm sorry, what school?
Hampton University.
Oh, okay. I heard that's a good school.
It's a phenomenal school. Transformational.
Absolutely.
I went to Hampton University, and I went to a summer program and basically everyone in the summer program definitely called me BK because I was from Brooklyn, and I didn't realize how New York I was until people from other places said that, right? So that's why it stuck with me. I thought I was going to lose it, but it stuck, which is good.
It is. It's a beautiful thing, and that's who you are. And speaking of that, going back to maybe even late high school or as you matriculated, as we like to use, through college, did you go to Hampton as an education major?
I did not. I actually did not. I was a sociology major. Actually, in the beginning, I was a journalism major. Took a course in sociology. You know, your freshman and sophomore year, you kind of take every area coursework. Fell in love with a sociology class with Dr. Benjamin. And I said, I'm going to change my major. And once I changed my major, I realized there was a big gap between race, class, and gender. So I knew when I graduated from Hampton that I was definitely going to help children. So I basically applied to this teaching program, which is an alternative program called Teach for America.
Okay.
And I got into Teach for America on the first deadline. Actually, myself and a couple other people applied at the same time and got in, which was a blessing. And at that time, they were asking more people to go to New Orleans because there was a shortage of teachers because of Hurricane Katrina.
Right.
I'd never been, I'm a Brooklyn girl. I'd never been past Florida, right, to go to Disney World, right? So I was like, you know what, I'm going to go. I want to go where I'm going to make the biggest impact. I had never visited at all till I moved there. And to this day, New Orleans is like my best place, not just in the United States, my best place in the world. I love New Orleans.
Wow. look at that. And you stumbled upon that just by and I don't want to say happenstance, but it definitely wasn't in the plan though.
It wasn't in the plan, but God works things out, and what's for you is for you. Like, I got in, you know, I could have easily been up north to be close by my family, but now I have a new family in New Orleans. So I can go back anytime and visit my students and pop them at their jobs or stop by a restaurant or go meet their parents. Wow. The love is real.
And so what age or what grade did you teach when you were in New Orleans?
I taught grade 5, all subjects.
And so with that teaching experience, that was your first step into the classroom. So what were your, like, just in the beginning phases of it, what was it like for you as a new educator who did not study education in the classroom?
Well, teaching is experiential, meaning like you have to just do it. Like, read about it. You can talk about it. It always baffles me when people talk about being in education and never taught before. It's something that you just have to do. And even though I felt Teach for America prepared me, I felt that my biggest bang for my buck was actually doing the doing.
That's it.
And like, basically, like people say, being in the trenches, like really being in the trenches with my kids, knowing that no matter what I go through personally, I have to make sure that I'm on point because my actions really impact student actions, right? So like whatever I'm going through or my family's going through, I literally pray before I walk in a building and make sure that I walk in with a growth mindset because I have to make sure that I motivate my kids on a daily. That's so powerful. What you know about that growth mindset? Have you read the book? On growth mindset. Yes. Tell them about it. Absolutely. That was so eye-opening to me. A lot of it, I guess, it can seem almost common sense, but not really. But then when you really think about the way some of those concepts are broken down, particularly with how you can apply it in a classroom, it was an amazing experience for me reading that book and then actually taking some of those things and applying it to my everyday life, first of all, but then especially in my teaching. Ooh, transformational. It's real life. Like literally the first week of school, you know how you set up your classroom and your routines and your expectations and all that. I literally do a little mini series on a growth mindset. Wow. And like I set my classroom up with that. If they know anything, they know growth mindset by the end of that first week. Wow. And knowing that we're not going to look at the whatever we go through as like the cup half empty, but truly look at it as full and know like no matter what cards we're dealt, whatever life chances we have, we still can succeed no matter what. That's it. And you plant that seed early in the kid's mind that they can do something. That's it. I give them a dap. I give them a hug. I show them love because we think that we know, but sometimes we have no clue. We have no clue. Honest. That's real honest. Stanford University professor Dr. Carol Dweck has an excellent book that if you have not heard of it, please do yourself a favor and take a look at this. It's called Growth Mindset. And basically in the book, she talks about how like a mindset is an established set of attitudes held by someone. But as it turns out, that set of attitudes doesn't need to be anything so set and steadfast. Dr. Dweck poses that everyone has either a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. And what she means by that is fixed mindset is one where you view your talents and abilities as something that's fixed, that can't be changed. In other words, you are who you are. Your intelligence is where it is. You can't get any smarter. You can't grow your talents. And you go through life pretty much avoiding challenge or failure. Growth mindset, on the other hand, is one in which you see yourself as fluid, a work in progress. Your fate is one of growth and opportunity. And imagine teaching your students this growth mindset and really ingraining what they have the possibility to do from the outset and what kind of change that could have for them throughout the year. If your children believed that they can learn and that they can increase their talents and that they can achieve more.
what kind of difference would that make? I'll have a link to the book in the show notes, but do yourself a favor and you need to get on this. So now I understand that you have, in your growing experiences as an educator, you've learned the power of 3 to 8. Now we're going to get into that in a second, but tell me very briefly what the power of 3 to 8 is, just briefly.
Okay. Power of 3 to 8 is that as educators, we usually teach from 8 to 3, but the real teaching happens from 3 to 8.
Powerful. Now do this for me. Before you understood and started to implement the power of 3 to 8 and taking advantage of that time after or outside of the classroom, if you will, what was it like before that?
I felt like I always stayed after school, but it's different when you have kids stay with you, because you actually meet them where they are. They're like little humans for real. You get to like seriously, because in the classroom it's so serious. We have a opportunity to put our guards down and just know each other as people, because kids think that we're this factor they don't really understand is outside of the classroom. And the real teaching does happen from 3 to 8 when we build those relationships. That 3 to 8 is going to impact that 8 to 3. It has a direct impact, direct correlation of how kids interact with you during school hours.
And so in that time before you started to recognize that the power of building those relationships, what was your experience like? Was it more difficult? Did you find it a challenge to get through to students before you started taking advantage of that?
I feel like teaching truly is my gift. Like you'll hear people say how do you pick good teachers? And you pick good people. Good teachers are good people, right? Like they don't think about themselves. They have their selfless. They're trying to make sure that they're gaining some type of professional development, personal development on their own,
right?
Because they know that, even when you call me master educator, I don't even consider myself that. That's honest. I'm still learning. Yes. I've been in education for 10 years and I'm still learning.
Absolutely. I was just speaking with someone in the last episode, a good brother of mine, Jason McNeil, and he said it best. We're lifelong learners as human beings. First of all, we should be, because the moment you stop learning is the moment that you really stop growing. You can get older, but not grow. Absolutely. But my kids say all the time, Miss Watt, I teach them about college, but beyond college, right? Like, Miss Watt, you have 3 degrees. Like, oh my gosh. And, it's like, no, I'm even if I don't go to school to get a PhD, right? Like, no matter what, I'm still going to take the next class. I'm still going to see if I can see some online resources, because I want to be my best self. Right. Like, my best self is going to impact the best students. That's it. Yeah. That's it. Lifelong learning in the classroom is critical, because there's something there's always something that you don't know, and something that you can use in the classroom to benefit you and or your students to be better people. Absolutely. So even the question was did I do that before? I did it before, but I did it I'm just doing it. I might keep these 2 kids after to help me file papers but then the extracurricular, so many people go to work and leave, but people don't realize being that coach or being that STEM coordinator or being that step master or, teaching, inviting kids to chorus, or these extracurricular activities really, really allows you to see kids in another light. These children are so talented. Yes. They're so talented. We confine them to these seats in the classroom, and, it's because it's pressure on us at times. It's pressure on us, right? However, the true growth is when kids are involved in the extracurricular. That builds character, and that character makes you a better student. So what you're saying is you were kind of inadvertently using it and staying after school here or there with some students and building the relationships. But once you learned to understand the power of the 3 to 8 and you consciously did it, then what were some of the changes that you saw as a result of that? I really felt teaching is I always call it a power, the triangle. It's about the student, the parent, and the teacher. And I feel like kids always loved me. I love them, right? They know that organically I
I just love them as people, like care for them. But parents started to become invested in me. And that's what really matters, right? Like I can literally call a parent and they got my back because they know I don't reach out to them often. And they know I'm with their kids after school. They know they can call me or text me or email me. And like the door's open. This is not a close. You can actually come to my classroom anytime. Any parent is welcomed anytime. So I felt like that was impacted. And, when kids can love you, parents can hear about you, but if they don't know you personally, then what? It's still a piece of the triangle, still a line segment missing,
Gotcha.
right? Like, so I feel that's what really helped. That I could call a parent, listen, I'm going to do this for the kids. Can you help me out? No problem. Built that relationship with them. So many people think it's just the student, but no. Like true teaching starts at home.
It does.
Even if you think they have it or if they don't have it, parents are involved. Parents want what's best for their children, ultimately. Even if we don't think that we see it or it doesn't look the way we want it to look.
And you know what? That's, yeah.
I want my child bad.
Yeah. and that, I think that's so critical what you mentioned about even if we don't see it or if it's not presented the way that we think that's critical to keep, because I had to do some self-reflection a few times with that, because there were things that maybe I would not have done. And I had to tell myself, just because you didn't do it you wouldn't do it that way doesn't mean it's wrong.
Absolutely. You gave yourself a little self-coach.
That's it. That is it right there.
It's always in our heads. Yeah.
Yes. And again, that's that growth. That's that lifelong learning right there in action.
Reflective teaching. Yeah.
The potential of a program that uses the power of 3 to 8 can be magnanimous, to say the least. But it does sound like a lot. Asking somebody, I want you to stay after school from 3 to 8, work an extra 5 hours on everything else that you already do, is doing the most. We all know that. And I asked her, I said, you got to help me with this. Are you telling me right now that you're staying after school every day from 3 to 8 with your students? And she said no. She said, definitely not. This is how she did it.
I always tell, even when I coach teachers or new students involved in education, my student teachers, you can't do anything by yourself. So the first thing that I would do is actually get my grade level on board.
Okay.
Because it doesn't have to be draining, right? So people think 3 to 8. I'm not really saying be at school from 3 to 8. I'm saying on Monday, have STEM club. I'm saying on Tuesday, have dance. I'm saying on Wednesday, have STEP, right? So literally every person, every man on the team could truly have whatever their expertise is and man that for that day. It's not talking to you. And it also builds anticipation. Kids start to want to, man, I can't wait till Monday. Like their weekend might have been a blur, right? But then on Monday, kids are dragging, they trying to get back in momentum, but they looking forward to that Monday after school program. Whatever you have set. So that's the first thing I would do is truly build investment on my grade level team. I would secondly find out what their strengths and gifts are outside of the classroom. And then thirdly, set up a schedule. Once I set up a schedule, then I go to administration, because administrators have so much going on. You can't go with an idea. You got to come with a game plan.
Hard facts and say, this is what it is. Can I go?
Here's the layout. Monday, I got this. Tuesday, Anthony got this. Wednesday, Cambria has this. This person has that. So you already have it all planned out. It's worse going to you going to a fight and you don't have all your resources to even win. So my thing is, administrators have enough on their plate. We have to make it as simplistic as possible. And the way you make it simple is building investment in your team, and you and your team collectively coming up with the plan. So it doesn't look like some people don't want a dictator, right? They don't want that. They want to feel like they're a part of something. So once you build that, they feel like they're a part and they're coming up with a plan together, then collectively we can go to admin and then truly make it happen.
Love it. I love it. You're dropping some jewels right here. That's really valuable. And I think that speaks that collaboration, you're so much stronger when you're a united front and everyone's on the same page with their goals. And I think that's so powerful. And I like the idea that you mentioned about putting everything down on paper and coming with the cold, hard facts, saying that this is what we're going to do. We're going to implement X, Y, and Z. Am I good to go? Can you sign off? That's it.
At the end of the meeting, we come up with the plan. We type it up. We email it prior to the meeting with the administration. So they looked over it. And basically, by the time we had a meeting, it's a go.
That's it.
It's a go. So, and admin is not going to say no if you have a plan and you have supports and systems in place. All they want to know is a minute by minute. Who's going to be there? Are kids going to be safe? Do our kids have? Is this going to impact student achievement? If it's a yes, then it's a go. But you can't come up with 50 million ideas with no game plan.
That's real.
It's a failure.
Now, let me ask: does something like this involve any sort of monetary investment?
Sometimes it does, but sometimes it doesn't have to be, right?
Okay.
So a lot of us always think about, man, like I've only taught in inner cities, right? Like I've taught in New Orleans, I've taught in Virginia, I teach in DC now, Washington DC. I've always taught minority populations, meaning like Title I populations, everybody's on free and reduced lunch. You know, some people live somewhat of a decent life. Some parents are really struggling.
Right.
However, when it comes to school, they should have everything they need, right? So to me, it could involve outside resources, yes, but there's a means to anything you want. So dancing doesn't involve money.
Not a dime.
It might involve a snack after school,
Uh-huh.
but it doesn't involve money, right? Like you can literally pick up a dance on YouTube. Kids just want to hang out. Like it doesn't have to involve financials all the time. Also, there's grants for those after school snacks and all of that, or getting certain parents to volunteer. It doesn't have to be so much brain power and cost all the time. So it's, and of course, as teachers, we don't get paid enough. So you would want some type of financial compensation, but truly it's of value and worth because you're building relationships with kids. So it does cost. It is worth it because it's you're taking your time, but it's all going to pay out on the end.
That's so true. Now, let me ask you this now. As a result of implementing that plan and going to administration with the game plan and saying, this is what we're doing, we've come up with this as a team, and you get things rolling from the 3 to 8 with the different activities for the kids after school, and all the teachers are, and all the grade levels are, all the educators in the grade level may be involved in the plan, and things are progressing throughout the year. How does that translate to student success back in the classroom?
Okay, so literally there's many ways that we can see if it's paying off, right? So if the time is paying off. So it could be as simple as a pulse check, just asking a child or a parent a question, or it could be a survey, or it could be, basically it could be at the end of a faculty meeting, have a brief discussion, 5 minutes of, have you noticed anything? Have you heard the kids talking about what's going on? Teachers will feel it in the classroom though. Like energy is important, right? So I feel like it's something we could definitely have quantitative data, right? We could definitely have qualitative data. There's ways to track that. But you can really track students' progress within their academics based on formal assessments, or informally through a survey or some type of collective way to collect data as well.
Yeah. And I'm sure the intangibles are there as well, just in that overall, as you mentioned before, the relationship. Now you may have that student that, whereas before they wouldn't, if you notice that something was wrong, they may not open up to you, or they may not be able to tell you what's happening. But now you've built that bond outside of the 8 to 3, as you mentioned, and they feel closer to you. They feel like they can trust you more, and that trust is probably built quicker. Yes. Allowing you to reach that student. And so when they do have their bad days, because let's be honest, this doesn't eliminate all the problems that you're going to have. But I feel like something like this, and you correct me if I'm wrong, in these instances where you might have something that does jump off, you can reach that student and say, hey, let's calm it down. And they're more likely to be susceptible to what you have to say as a result.
I respect them. I respect them. Like, and it's crazy. I'm a teacher, and I could be out in public at times, and I could see a kid not act right, a child not act right, but I'm usually more than likely not going to address them. I don't have a relationship with them.
Right.
Relationship with kids, they feel as though they trust you. Then you could pull them to the side, give them that look, and they know. That look. Everybody got their teacher look. I can give a kid a look and they know, listen, Miss Watler's not playing. Listen, we're serious. We don't have time to waste. I mean, sometimes I don't even have to check a kid. The kids check each other.
That's it.
And they want to learn.
That's when you know. Yes, that's when you know right there. When you have someone check a kid check another kid, right? Yes.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. That is it right there.
I noticed too, like sometimes teachers, we want to do all the doing. It could be as simple as, listen, I talked to one kid. Listen, I want you to, at lunch today, I want you to bring this up. And then I want you to report back to me on what everybody said. Mm-hmm. Man, how was STEP team after school? Cool. How's STEM after school? And then get that feedback, right, from that child. That child's having just a basic conversation with their peers at lunch. Or it could be as simple as me sitting. I used to eat lunch with a bunch of kids every day, like different kids. Mm-hmm. Especially in the beginning when we don't have the after school programs to get everything into play. I would sit with them at lunch to pick their heads and see what they want or see what they like. That student engagement all the way.
All the way. And it's inside and, as you mentioned, outside of the classroom. And it's so beneficial. I really appreciate you sharing that because I know that's going to provide some great value to the listeners. So thank you for sharing those words.
No problem.
So now transitioning to outside of the classroom, how does BK balance work life? And I know with the 3 to 8, that technically it adds to your day, even if you may not be there every day after school, but it does add, and that can be taxing on you just as a human being. So what do you do to balance the 8 to 3, then the 3 to 8, so forth and so on?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't have great balance. I don't have great balance. I feel like this is my 7th year in the classroom. Mm-hmm. Someone told me early in my career, the 3rd year, the 5th year, and the 7th year, right? Mm-hmm. By year 3, you seeing it. By 3, it's like, man, I'm starting to get this, right? I'm starting to get it, especially if you teach the same thing. I'm starting to get it. By 5, it's like, ooh, I'm feeling okay. By 7, it's like, am I in education for the long haul or am I not?
Okay.
And I'm at this point in my life where I know this is my gift from God.
Wonderful.
It's somewhat easy, but still challenging for me.
Absolutely. Yes.
I wake up every morning not like, oh, I got to go to work. Like I could do whatever at night and I'm still going to make it to work in the morning. I'm not going to not show up for my kids. Mm-hmm. But I don't have the best balance. And I'm working on it. I could say out of all my years, this is the year that I've been the most with balance. So, me and my friends might go out after work, or I'm also involved in another organization. It's called Momentum Education.
Okay.
And that's basically personal development classes. And I'm able to serve on enrollment team there. So basically I help people get enrolled in these classes. Mm-hmm. I know what it's done for me and my family, because my family is pretty much involved too. And it's based in LA, New York, Seattle, and now DC. Okay. So I actually do a lot of work with that organization. Well, so it's still teaching, right? Because it's people living their best lives. And we have to be trained for that. We usually take care of everybody. We don't take care of ourselves. So education allows me and has helped me to truly spend time on BK. Like it's okay to do me.
Right.
And I don't have to be children all the time, even though I love them. Sure. I still have to do me.
Sure.
I've gained that from being involved in the Momentum Education.
So what are some of the tactics, strategies that you put in place or that you've learned from Momentum Education to do you? What helps you to do that?
Well, there's one thing called WinWin. Mm-hmm. So basically WinWin is how can you win and I win at the same time, mm-hmm. right? There's enough abundance in the world. Like we have enough resources where I'm not trying to pull anyone down to get where I want to be. So win-win. How can I benefit mm-hmm. and how can others benefit from situations? There's something else called be, do, have, mm-hmm. which is a strategy. Who am I being to do what I want to do, to have what I want? So am I being courageous? Am I being courageous? What do I need to do to be courageous to have that tangible thing that I want that I don't have?
Got you. Gotcha.
So it's a lot of principles in place that has truly helped me, or the power of like enrollment, right? So one who has mastered enrollment has mastered life. And no one should be, if you're not enrolling, someone's enrolling you. Meaning if you're not like literally helping yourself or helping others be their best self, meaning enrollment, like you need support to do all things.
Okay.
And you're being enrolled yourself. So
Enroll
that's enough.
or be enrolled.
Yeah, I'm either enrolling or I'm being enrolled. And who am I enrolling in my next big thing, right? Like who am I enrolling in helping me start my nonprofit? Who am I enrolling to like have that passionate relationship that I want, right? So that's another. So win-win, be, do, have is another principle. Enrollment is a big thing, and just support. You know, people can say no. But you have to ask for stuff that you don't have or stuff that you want that other people can help you with.
Sure.
So many of us do. But then when we need support, we say, no one wants to help us. No, like.
You got to ask. Closed mouths don't get fed.
That's it. Just ask. And if they say no, they say no. But at least you can say, man. And this, it seems like something simple, but I really struggled. Why? Because I actually struggled with trust. Like trusting that people said that they were going to do what they said they were going to do.
Sure.
That's all through the work of momentum education.
Wow. And when that first principle that you mentioned about the win-win, that sounds very familiar to some of the teachings of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Yes. That's definitely
that book on my bookshelf.
Talk about a game changer right there. Yes.
My students know about that.
So it seems like you're dropping some serious knowledge to your students.
Life work.
Yes.
This is life work. This not, I've taught every subject. I've taught kindergarten. I've taught 4th grade. I've taught 5th grade. Now I teach 6th grade. I've taught 5th grade writing. I taught 5th grade all subjects. I've taught 4th grade all subjects, looped up with my kids to 5th grade. Now I teach 6th grade science. I literally can teach anything. But teaching is knowing the content is literally 25% of it. Right?
Say that one more time for the people in the back. I don't think they heard you.
Teaching content. So knowing, music, like I know science, like someone else knows math, that's 25% of teaching. The other 75% is building good people. Like, who are you? Like, what do you stand for? Like, do you have integrity? Like, who are you trying to be in the world? Like, what are you going to do with this dash? Like, you were born to when you die. What's your legacy going to be?
That in between.
Not what your parents did.
Yeah.
What you going to do? Who are you going to inspire? Who are you going to motivate? That's truly character building. And that's 75% of teaching is the unwritten curriculum. It's things that people can't teach you. You got to just know and go with your gut. Oh, I'm teaching this. This ain't going right. Let me just change it. Forget what my lesson plan says. I got to organically fill the room and know that this is not working. This strategy is not working in this moment. Let me switch it.
And you can talk for a whole nother, good grief, a whole nother podcast episode on that. Actually, I think I'm gonna take a little note on that now on what do you do when the lesson plan fails?
Yes. What do you do when the lesson plan? You adapt.
Yeah, that's it.
Right?
That's it.
That's a behavioral adaptation, right? Like, man, this is not going well. What must I do to make sure I'm not going to waste the kids' 90-minute block?
Right.
I'm going to try to get my bang for my buck. I'm going to switch it up. And what might work for one kid might not work for another kid. But I need to decide and really use my judgment or my level of expertise to know, man, how's this kid going to master this? So yeah, I always say that people think teaching is like so much of, man, I need to memorize it. No. You just got to be a regular person willing to like do whatever's necessary for student achievement. So if that's go to a kid's football game, do that. Guess what? Everybody will know and they'll love you even more.
Sure will. And they get excited when they see you walk in there too.
Yes. They get excited. You're like a little celebrity. Like come sit with me. That stuff, man. And it could be an hour out of your time, which is nothing.
Yeah. I like to tell my students, that I teach currently as a professor. I teach teachers and future teachers, and I like to tell them it's pretty much a different way of saying exactly what you just said. A lot of people have the misconception that teaching is tactical, but it's not. Teaching is relational.
Yes.
The moment you understand that and implement it, there's the moment that your teaching changes forever.
Yeah. Those people that we care about in our lives, we have personal relationships with.
That's it.
That's it. That's it. People that we care and love, we know them. They know us. So we can't expect to teach children and not know who they are and not know their interests.
That's
right?
it.
Like, that's it.
Wow.
It's not like brain surgery. It's not brain power. Like, you either know them or you don't know them. And if you don't know them, what are you going to do to get to know them? And you're not going to know every kid the same, by no means.
Sure.
However, you should make it purposeful to like know something special. How many siblings this child has? Where do they live? What sports do they like? Do they like to dance? What kind of music they like? Basic stuff.
And it's not like you're memorizing, like you're memorizing facts. These are things that, just like with anybody else, you get to know over time. And
Absolutely.
it comes up in these conversations. And then when you bring it up again, it's just like, oh, you remembered? Yeah, of course I remembered. You're important to me.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Absolutely. Kids today told me, Miss Watler, can you make up a Kahoot, which is the online, you know about Kahoot? It's an online game where you could create your questions. Really great for reviewing, for like formal assessments, right? Sure. The kids like, can you make up a Kahoot about you? And I just looked at them like, that takes time. Why you want me to do that? And they said, I want to see if we remember everything about you.
Yes. Yes.
Because they know me. They know what my dog name was, and they know where I'm from, and they know my siblings, and they know my brother plays basketball, and they know I love chicken wings, and they know everything about me, which is great.
It is. It is.
They know me personally, and I know them.
Wow. On that note, I'm going to drop the mic right there because you just dropped some jewels that I know. I have to thank Miss Lauren Watler, a.k.a. BK, for this knowledge, because I know this is going to bless somebody. It really, really is. Relationships with our students is so important and vital to what we do, and any way with which we can enhance this is truly going to make a difference. So thank you, BK. I appreciate you. I'll have links in the show notes to growth mindset as well as momentum education, so you can find out a little bit more about that. You can get those at urbaneducating.com/episode 3. I also encourage you to subscribe to the podcast so that you don't miss out on anything, and visit the website again at www.urbaneducating.com. Let me know how this information and the other episodes has helped you to truly flourish in the classroom. Until next time.
Thank you for listening. Visit our website at urbaneducating.com and subscribe to the show on iTunes and Google Play.